Startup World Cup Austria. I'm Hannah Wunsam. I'm your moderator of today and managing director of Austrian Startups. Today, we will bring in front of the curtain the startups from 3 different federal states of Austria. There's Carinthia, there's Styria, and Salzburg. And with Austrian Startups, we're not only moderating today, we're also co-organizing the Startup World Cup. But now I would like to get Laura Eck on stage. She is Managing Director of the Austrian Angel Investors Association, and she will tell you more about the Startup World Cup as their main organizer.
And hi, everybody. As Hannah just said, I'm Laura, and I'm really happy that today we can host the second session of the Startup World Cup. It was really a blast last week, and I'm so happy that we can continue this time. And it's all about startups getting in contact with investors. So the main aim of the whole Startup World Cup Austria is really to give startups a stage, especially now in the still digital age, and give everybody an opportunity to be visible and to find an investment. And we also have Noah here, who will also go more in depth about the concept about the Startup World Cup and telling you that from a more American perspective, as they are the main, as with Pegasus Tech Ventures, they're the main initiators of the Startup World Cup. So the voice to Noah.
Hello, and welcome to the pre-event for Startup World Cup Austria. Startup World Cup is a platform powered by Pegasus Tech Ventures, which is a global venture capital fund based out of Silicon Valley. We've made over 180 investments to date, including some popular ones like SoFi, 23andMe, and SpaceX. Startup World Cup is the largest global pitch competition with over 70 different regional events across the world. We are so excited to be taking part in the Austrian ecosystem and be bringing Startup World Cup to Austria. Thank you all so much, and let the games begin.
Thank you, Noah. It's really great that it's such an international, a global competition that we are for the first time this year bringing to Austria. The goal of the event is really to connect investors and startups and all the ecosystems across Austria in order to bring in front of the stage our best national startups. So we are not the only ones that think that this initiative is a great one that needs to be supported, but we also have Margarete Schramberg with us today, and she will give you a greeting, and I would love to tune her in now.
A lot of interesting startups come from the region, Styria, Carinthia and Salzburg. So you can all be proud that you are participating to this event today. I wish you all good luck, successful work, and hopefully you are all successful in your business future. I'm convinced that you have all the prerequisites to become a great startup in this world.
Thank you, Margarete. That was our Minister of the Federal Ministry for Digital and Economic Affairs. And now our welcome words are almost over. I just want to say thank you as well to our sponsors. We have A1, we have WKO, who have a session today. You can meet them later on. There's the Vienna Business Agency, who are supporting us and who are actually hosting us with our final on the 5th of May within the Vienna app. And of course, Massas, your partner in tax consulting, who you can meet later on in our expo area. But now, without further ado, let's get into the agenda of today. So first of all, we will have a deep dive into the 3 startup ecosystems that are represented today. So Styria, Carinthia and Salzburg. Afterwards, there will be our startup pitches. and the jury will be able to ask their burning questions. Then you can meet the WKO in the session and all the interesting startups that have been pitching in the expo area before we will get to the jury decision and afterwards some more networking. So if you just joined us and if you're here with us, please let us know who you are. Introduce yourself in the chat. This is really your opportunity to get into contact with the startup ecosystem, get to know and network in these digital ages. So let's introduce ourselves, and I will introduce now next our panel on stage. So let's start right into it. We have today a deep dive into the 3 ecosystems represented, and I have with me the local representatives of Austrian startups of Carinthia, Styria and Salzburg. And I would love for them to, first of all, introduce themselves and maybe tell us one thing that is special about their ecosystem. Let's start with Werner. Werner, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Werner Sommer. I'm the local representative of Austrian startups in Styria. I'm also representing Ideentriebwerk Graz, which is a student organization that organizes a lot of startup events here in Styria and especially in Graz.
Thank you, Werner. Let's go on with Alexander. Please introduce yourself and...
Hi, I'm Alex from Klagenfurt. I'm the local representative from Austrian startups here in Carinthia. What to say about myself? Right now I'm running 4 companies. I'm supporting as much as I can the startup ecosystem here in Carinthia. Maybe interesting, I'm also part of the Economic Policy Advisory Council of the government of Carinthia, and trying to bring all the startup topics into the local government. And I also co-started the whole TEDx Klagenfurt, Startup Weekends in Klagenfurt. And we have our Stammtisch also in Klagenfurt that happens once a month. And what's cool about Carinthia, it's mostly in summertime, the work-life balance, where we can work at the lake on our startups. So thanks.
That sounds amazing. I am already longing for summer and some days at the lake. Third up, we have Maximilian. Maximilian, please introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Maximilian. I'm the CEO of Startup Sports. We develop and we sell a football training system. I'm furthermore the CEO. I'm furthermore a local representative of Austrian startups in Salzburg. And well, what's interesting about Salzburg, I think the most interesting part is that we have a big startup network. We have a big, startup accelerators here in Salzburg. That's Startup Salzburg. And well, that's the most interesting thing about Salzburg.
Thank you, Max. First of all, a shout out also to the audience. If you have any questions to our panelists, please just write them in the chat. We will pick them up. So please let us know and let's make this into an interactive session. But to start our conversation off, I would love to hear from Werner. Imagine I'm a young startup founder and I am totally new to the field and I come to Ideentriebwerk, and how would kind of be my journey? What are the institutions I can go to? How do I get support when I'm in Styria? Werner, you're muted.
That's one of the main things of the Styrian startup scene. It's one interesting one is that a lot of people working on the best possible startup ecosystem here in Styria. And I think that's beautiful because there is an ecosystem that works with startups from the idea stage to the building stage to the growth stage. So there are a lot of organizations who support startups in Styria with building the startup right from the idea. There are organizations like the Ideentriebwerk Graz, which is an organization that helps founders to get over the first obstacles and to lose the fear of founding, because that's the main thing we are working on. We want to bring a lot of young people to found and to bring their ideas to success. That's the main thing we are doing here. But there are a lot of organizations based on the universities who work and build the ideas with students and work so those startups have a success in the future. We have networking events where startups are networking with each other in interesting constellations with with different backgrounds, if it's a technical background or economic background. We want to intertwine those backgrounds with our startup scene. But there are also interesting incubators who support startups, especially in early stage, but also in the growth stage. And I think there are a lot of opportunities for startups to found in Styria, especially in Graz, which is a student city with 60,000 students here in Graz, and a lot of opportunities to build a successful startup. So I think, yeah, that's beautiful.
Amazing. So best, if you're new to the scene, go to Ideentriebwerk, and there you will get a map where you can go, right? You even did the Startup Barometer Graz.
Yeah. We've built an interesting map that looks like a tramway map. That is a tramway map that shows all the organizations that support startups in Graz, from higher institutions of higher educations like universities and universities of applied sciences, of organizations that support with idea and business model creation, that support people with the network, also to investors, supporting people with the places where they can found, especially co-working places, co-working spaces. A lot of them are here in Styria, and we have incubators. It's pretty interesting. You can take a look at it. You can see it in the chat in Hopin. Take a look at it. I think it's a nice overview of what we are having here in our ecosystem.
Nice. Max, I was wondering, so many startups, or also if you're not from Austria, you might think, okay, if I want to found, I need to go to Vienna. What is your thought about this? Do they, or should they actually go to Salzburg?
Well, I think, in my opinion, Salzburg is the right place to found. Maybe I can show you our journey. I can show you our roadway. Well, we got in football, we say we got scouted. We got scouted by Startup Salzburg on a networking event. In the next few weeks, we got many coachings. We got a mentor, Manfred Rosenstatter, and who is also one of our investors today. So in the 2 years after that, we got into the incubation program. It's called the Startup Factory here in Salzburg, and that was our push to the market. And we have a small ecosystem here in Salzburg. It's not that big like in Vienna, but I think we have all the possibilities you need to found, and the perfect base. What's perfect to found.
Awesome. So it's kind of a launch track where you can easily get to know the other players in the ecosystem, get to know the investors and be scouted.
Often it's an advantage to have a small ecosystem here.
Okay, Alexander, would you agree? Is this an advantage? You're nodding.
Partly yes, especially in the beginning when you try to get in contact with other startups that help you build up your business idea, I would say. It's easier to get in contact with them. But then in the growth phase, if you really need investors, mostly you have to go to bigger hubs where you get the right contacts. The journey of a founder in Carinthia, it's quite interesting. Like, we're kind of jealous a little bit when we peek over to Werner, to Graz, because we're kind of lacking a community organization that really brings people together. We had that a couple of years ago, and then it fell asleep more or less, I would say. But there are still strong startup alumni, I would say, that try to help the youngsters. And for example, I have to mention the Durchstarter program. It was run, or it is run by the Gründer Service of the Chamber of Commerce. And it's a nice mentoring program where they try to identify innovations, like potential startups, if you take the startup word, and what startups should be. And we build a mentoring program around it with alumni startups that act as mentors to help the young people. And it's really pre-seed. So people come in the program who just have an idea and no clue how to run it. And it's, I think, a 6-month program where we try to give them all the tools they need to really get started. And that's more or less, if you have a good innovation idea and you want to start in Carinthia, you go via the Gründer Service of the Chamber of Commerce. And there you get really good support by other founders and help you to push your idea. So that would be the standard way in Carinthia right now.
All right. They are actually also here today. So later on in the session, you can meet them as well. There's actually a question in the audience about the different locations in Austria. So what's the difference between those locations in the federal states? Or is there no difference? Who would like to take that question?
You mean concerning funding or the community, or what exactly?
I think you can turn it in multiple ways. I would, for example, be interested in, are there any specific industries, or are there some events that someone should definitely check out? I think there are a couple of ways you can go about this question.
I would say, and I hope Werner will agree, that Carinthia is more like a starting point if you really want to go across the border, like to Slovenia. There's a Slovenian-speaking minority here in Slovenia, so a lot of people can help you get contacts to Slovenia and how to start over there. Same with North Italy. And when I'm mentioning Slovenia, I have to mention the Podium conference in Maribor. I think Werner is more connected to them like Carinthia, but we always have a bus full of startups going to this event because it's actually the biggest startup networking event taking place in the Alps Adriatic region right here. So you could say Carinthia is focusing on work-life balance, but also this starting point if you want to go south from my side.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, and that's beautiful about Carinthia, that it has the beautiful connection to other countries, especially not federal states, but countries. And the interaction between those, we are working on that in Styria. But we have good connections to Slovenia, to the Podium conference, and so on. That's really nice to have some interaction and talks about how to get a better ecosystem for both ecosystems. What I also can say about what Alexander mentioned before is that Styria has interesting, funding possibilities in the early stage, but there are also problems in the growth stage when you want to build a startup that is growing fast, growing internationally. There's a gap that we should look at in the future, and we're looking at it right now. But I think that's some of the weaknesses of the ecosystem here, but we're working on that. What I would say about the ecosystem here in Styria is that it's a very vivid and very active startup scene where there are always new ideas, and especially because of all the students here in Graz and the good universities, the Technical University, the University of Graz, and all the universities of applied sciences. There are a lot of high potentials who are living here, who are working here, who want to build their ideas. And there's a lot of potential in that, especially in the fields. We have an interesting hub for green tech, for example, but also for health tech startups. Green tech is the green tech hub here and the green tech cluster here in Styria. When you know EET, which is an interesting solar panel startup, where you can plug the solar panels right to your plug in, and you can get voltage out of it. It's pretty nice, and they're expanding exponentially. So it's pretty interesting. Health tech startups here, I can mention Brief ILO, which is a startup that focuses on a device that helps women to know if they are pregnant or not. So there are a lot of potentials here, also think that's very good about Styria.
Beautiful, and those are great examples of startups that have made it from your region. I would love to know, Max, are there also some examples of startups that stem from Salzburg that are your hidden champions?
Well, two of them are pitching today.
Let's not bias.
Pardon?
No, I was just kidding.
Okay. No, I think in Salzburg we have the most interesting part about Salzburg is that we have also an international network to Bavaria and many other states. And probably the more interesting part is that we have so many corporates located here in Salzburg, with the Salzburg AG, with the Palfinger, with Porsche, with Red Bull. And furthermore, you can find the proper work-life balance here in Salzburg. And that's in my eyes the most interesting part to found here.
Oh, yes.
If I may mention,
yeah.
True, I love to come to Salzburg, but you don't have the nice lakes as we have. Because you asked before, what are the big players? The biggest we have in Carinthia is Bitmovin. They are into video encoding stuff. I just understood half of it when you pitched it to me. And the fun part is they are growing like hell. They're next funding round right now. But what is interesting also in Carinthia maybe is Infineon. They're into the semiconductor, and we have this cluster. It's called Silicon Alps cluster. And I think they're supporting right now more than 40 startups to get into the business. So the connection between the industry and startups is quite strong here in Carinthia. And a fun fact maybe from Carinthia, from the GDP number, that the industry is stronger than the tourism. So we have really, really interesting and strong industries here in Carinthia. And I just wanted to mention that too.
Awesome. So there's actually a lot of potential out there. Alexander, still last time we talked, you were mentioning that you actually would like to still and foster some more of the spirit. And we also do this yearly startup study, the Austrian Startup Monitor, where you already leaked that you think that Carinthia actually didn't perform too well.
Yeah, I don't have any numbers yet from the monitor. I try to get them, but Marcus is really strict on that. Yeah, I'm kind of worried, and I mentioned it before that we are a little bit jealous of the other countries because they have a strong ecosystem going on, and Carinthia has a little bit of a lack of it. As I mentioned already, there are a couple of good startups trying to help the ecosystem and the community. One example is like my office in here. Actually, we're producing and it's super loud, but still we have 8 companies or 8 startups renting places here, although it's super loud and they can't really work, but they just love the environment around it. And we try to mingle, we try to network and support. And yeah, what I heard, the base call out that I always hear from different kind of startups, and last month I tried to interview more than 40 startups here in Carinthia, what they think about our region. And it's a lot of negative voices coming up too, especially in the institutional support. That every organization in Carinthia tries to do its own program, tries to do his own startup events, but it's a little bit of a lack of this working together. And I'm trying to work on that to make it better. So I hope as soon as the monitor comes out that I have really numbers to show the officials and politicians that something has to be done. And I will use that as a tool a little bit to get, how would I say, Carinthia on the startup map in Austria again as one big player.
Absolutely.
But you have nice startup events in Carinthia.
True, very nice ones, especially if the weather plays its role.
Is there one special one that people should put into their calendar this year?
If it will happen, I would say the TEDx conference, because it turned out in Klagenfurt, the TEDx, it was really big. So the last TEDx, we had, I think, 600 people on the event. And it's really a place where all the startups come together and mingle and network. Yeah, so TEDx is one big thing. You meet a lot of startups from Carinthia and you can mingle with them. Hope it will take place this year. We don't know yet.
Fingers crossed. But this actually leads me already to our last question. Time is flying by. I would love to end this discussion with a moonshot from all of you. Something that you wish for your ecosystem to happen, which would have a huge impact on it. And maybe we'll start with Max. What's your moonshot for Salzburg?
I think that's a good question. Well, what we probably need in Salzburg is a startup hub where all the startups can get together, where a big place where we can network. We have this year the Salz 21, what will take place the first time this year in June. Generally, we have the demo day, and these are all events, but probably a startup hub where the offices of startups are and where you can network. That will have the biggest impact here in Salzburg.
So physical location to get together.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. Werner, what's your moonshot for Styria?
I think there are 2 ones. The first one is that I hope that in 5 years we have a unicorn here in Styria. I think it will be uSound, which is a startup that focuses on digital sound chips. You have to think about smartphones and their speakers. They are working with an analog device, so they are mechanical, And this startup focuses on a sound that comes from digital chips. So that's a big thing for all the industries that work with speakers and so on. That's really a big thing. So maybe we will see a unicorn also from Styria. We've heard one last week with Bitpanda, so let's hope for that. And maybe the other thing is that Graz will soon be one of the main hubs for green tech startups here in Europe. That would be a thing that would be pretty interesting for us here, because we think that would attract a lot of people from other countries and show that Graz is a city to found also for international guests.
Amazing. Yes, those are two very big moonshots. I love it. Alexander.
Already said it. I would wish for a really strong community organization here in Carinthia that really connects all the stakeholders we have, and to shout with one voice. Also being faster than Styria with the first unicorn, because Bitmovin is on a good way to get one too. We'll see who's the fastest. And of course, to meet as many startups as possible from all over Austria to come to Carinthia, to our business beach. It's kind of a co-working space directly at the beach, to talk and mingle with as many of them as possible. So stay tuned on that, and hopefully the beaches will open this summer.
Thank you very much. Let me just quickly summarize what we've heard. So we heard that actually in order to start up, having a little bit smaller but therefore very well connected ecosystem can be of an advantage, as you meet the other players very quickly and get a lot of support. If you are in Styria, go to the Triebwerk. They will support you with the first steps and connect you to the rest of the ecosystem, or look at their tube map in order to find your way around. If you come to Carinthia, you should definitely check out the beaches and the office at the beach. You can also check out their TEDx event, which should be really, really amazing when it happens. If it happens, fingers are crossed. And in Salzburg, make sure you check out Startup Salzburg, their demo days, and also make use of all the mountains and the beautiful life-work balance if you're a startup there. Thank you all so much for being part of the panel discussion. We will now start with our pitches and get the jury on board. Welcome, dear jury. We have a beautiful jury with us today out of 3 experts from our ecosystem, and I would love to ask them to introduce themselves, as they can do this much better than I could. Please, first up, Selma Prodanovic.
Hi, and awesome to be here with you today. It's really lovely, and it's great to see all the moonshots and to hear about the ideas where we want to move forward, also knowing that there is a unicorn in Austria. So good news for all of us. My name is Selma Prodanovic, and I'm the co-founder of the Austrian Angel Investors Association and board member, but also the vice president of the European Business Angel Network. And what I'm bringing in here today is the international and European perspective. And I'm very much looking forward to hear news from the startups across the region.
Thank you, Selma. We are very happy to have you with us today. Next, I would love to ask Michael Ionita to introduce himself.
Hello, hello. Thank you very much, Hannah. It's been already awesome to listen to you and to the moonshots. I love that. So I'm Michael. I'm a board member of Austrian Startups. I founded several startups in my career, and I have a technical background, and also I have a YouTube channel running on no code, how you can create apps without coding. And I will bring all of this knowledge that I have and a lot of focus to listen to your pitches perfectly so I can give a good vote.
Thank you, Michi, and welcome in the jury. Last but not least, we have Audrey Handem with us. Audrey, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Audrey Handem. I'm an investor at Speed Invest, an early stage pan-European fund, originally from Austria. And today I'll be bringing my expertise in early stage investments, and I also have a background in healthcare. And I would like to wish all of the startups today, a good luck, and I hope that you all have fun as well.
Thank you all. We will now start with our first category. We will in total have 4 categories in which we will see amazing pitches. The startups will have 4 minutes to pitch. Afterwards, there will be 1 question from the jury, and then we'll go on. The first category that we have today is digital health and biotech. So I am happy to announce the first startup, which comes from Styria and is called Opus Novo, the digital care assistant. Please get Opus Novo on stage to us.
And our vision is to enable elderly care patients the ability to sustain their independence for longer and to relieve and support caregivers by selling our product, Ali. Today I want to tell you something about one of the main socio-political challenges, namely elderly care. And this is a group of people which is steadily growing because our society is getting older. And I want to tell you an anecdote about how these people live. Because, for example, in my hometown, there is 1 nursing home with about 95 beds. But in this city, there live about 630 people in need of care, and all of them want to get a place in this nursing home. And this is what we call the social care gap. And this anecdote can surely be applied worldwide, because, for example, if you look to England, the financial gap of closing this social care gap is about £4.4 billion. And this is a big problem, because mostly caregivers, relatives, and family members have to carry out these problems, and they often struggle by the high level of responsibility, the high level of stress, and the factor to always have to be available. And mostly the number 1 problem for them is that they often have to fear that someone with higher risk of falling can leave the bed unattended and can fall, and they cannot react immediately. And such a fall can be a life-changing or a life-ending accident. And this is why we've created Ali. Ali is a tool consisting of a hardware module and a software app. And according to those number 1 problem I've mentioned before, Ali sends a signal to the smartphone of the caregiver when someone in need of care leaves the bed unattended. And this can relieve relatives, and this also can help the people in need of care. There's furthermore an individually adjustable orientation light included, and this can give people in need of care more orientation, and this can also prevent the risk of falling. Our caregivers can buy or rent our product via our own online shop system, and therefore we are working together with healthcare supply stores, with aid organizations, and with caregiver agencies. Therefore, we are using them as marketing and information channels. And the market we're working in, the elderly care market, there are many different companies and different products. And we are especially focused on the bed monitoring systems market, which was about 1.1 billion euros in 2019 by a global growth rate of about 7.9% per year. But with our modular and expandable product, and we already are developing a new feature for our product, and with our innovative sensor software technology, where we can give people a high level of privacy, it is our aim to be the leader in this market. Actually, we have finished our first development process of our first version of our product. And we want to start our market entry in about 3 to 4 weeks, so in the middle of April. Afterwards, we plan our European rollout in 2022, and at the latest in 2024, we plan our worldwide rollout. I think elderly care is something which will affect every one of us somewhere in the future, and this is why I want to invite you to also join our vision. A participation at the finals of the World Cup Austria in Vienna would help us to grow faster and to achieve our goals. And so hopefully we can get a chance and join the finals of this World Cup. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would love to know from the jury, is there someone, Selma?
Yes.
I saw you.
Yes, I would love to. Thank you very much. I would like to know more how far you are with the product development. I understand that you want to go international and everything, but how far are you right now? And have you had any trials in terms of the usage of your product, as you have a lot of competition in this field?
Yes, at the moment we have finished our first version. So the version where you have this light and where you have this app version with the bad exit signal. And we are actually producing 200 prototypes, and we are testing these 200 prototypes together with caregivers at home and also with nursing homes. This is a process which will take place in the next 2 and 3 months. And after that, we want to start our first bigger production series. That's our actual status at the moment.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Kilobaser, the Nespresso machine for DNA. Who of you is a listener of our startup podcast, The Future Weekly? You might have already heard them once in one of our sessions, of our podcast sessions. And I would very much ask them on stage now to do the pitch.
Hey, can you hear me? Nice. So thanks for having us today. My name is Alex. I'm the CEO of Kilobaser, the Nespresso machine for DNA, as we call it sometimes. So let's talk about the situation today and how life science labs deal with DNA. So today, almost all life science labs around the globe have to order DNA from distant providers. So basically you go online, you order DNA, and it gets shipped by mail to your lab. Well, where's the problem? It takes 1 day minimum in best case, but often it takes several days or weeks. So when we look at computer programming, where you can create computer code right on the fly, it seems quite strange that you have to order DNA code from an external provider. So that's why we've created Kilobaser, which is the world's first, as we call it, personal DNA synthesizer, because it enables every biologist to make DNA right on the lab bench. With our solution, you can actually create DNA in just 2 hours. So Kilobaser is actually 10 times to up to 360 times faster than ordering from an outsourced provider. Yeah, where are we at? So we launched the product, or actually our first product, in mid last year. This month in March, we sold already for more than $150,000. Altogether, we have a revenue by now of about $500,000, or should be about 420,000 euros, I think. We not just sell the devices, we also have the proprietary consumables, which I will talk later about. Yeah, so in devices, we sold 5 in February and 10 in March. So I think it's quite nice. Our customers are life science labs. We actually sold to one of the biggest pharma companies, Sanofi. We also sold to our largest competitor, IDT DNA. Why now? Why is Kilobaser needed, especially now? Well, we see fast and amazing process and progress in life science industry. So we see vaccines, we see new methods like CRISPR-Cas9, DNA diagnostics, which just make genetic engineering in general a lot faster. And our vision is in the end that genetic engineering becomes as immediate as programming a computer. Another thing we saw this year, or actually in the last 2 years, is that the supply chains were actually disrupted by Corona. So a virus is disrupting the supply of DNA for the labs which are supposed to fight the virus. So I think that made a lot of awareness about the issue of having like the core, the foundation of a licensed lab outsourced to another company. Yeah, the market, we have about 500,000 licensed labs globally. If we just sell to 10% of those labs a device, that's at least $2.5 billion market opportunity. A bit more about the technology we use. So we are actually the first DNA synthesizer which uses microfluidic chip technology. That's why our device uses 100 times less reagents compared to other systems. That also made us, enabled us to create a cartridge, a single cartridge. You see it here on the right, the purple one, where all the reagents are stored. So thanks very much for listening.
Thank you, Alex, and good to see you again. Actually interesting to see what your developments are since we last spoke. I would love to ask the jury now if there are any questions. I see Audrey has one. Audrey.
So thank you so much for your presentation. That was extremely interesting and also a very innovative product. My question mainly is, so towards the end of your presentation, you mentioned that there were about 500K genetics labs worldwide, but would they all need this type of product, and would your product also replace the use of mice? Or is it specifically for human DNA?
To answer the second question, no, it can't replace mice because mice are a living organism and DNA is just DNA code. So I don't see a way how it could replace mice. The other question was how big we see the market. Well, not all of them will need Kilobaser. So there's, of course, very different labs out there with different needs. But that's why I said if we just target 10% of them, or if we just get 10% of them as our customers, that's already a quite big market.
Okay. And so which kind of labs specifically would need your product?
It's hard it's hard to say. Currently, we sell to different companies such as Sanofi. Basically, these are research labs working on different topics, from vaccines to biodefense to, so we actually sell to the military right now quite well. Then diagnostics development, especially now for all of the COVID stuff. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's already it from the first category. Now we will jump to the next category, which is climate and social impact. And we start with our first startup, which is Garnet. And they say they have a sensing solution for harsh environments. I'm very curious to see what's behind this tagline. Let's get him up on stage.
Good afternoon. My name is Alexey, and I'm a co-founder of Garnet, a materials startup that is currently incubated in the Science Park Graz. I would like to present to you our cargo inspection project. And by cargo, I mean large containers that are delivered by trucks, trains, or via the seaports. There are numerous statements at the national, regional, or global level that there is a problem to identify cargo that is inconsistent with its declaration, contains illegal goods, or poses threats to society. On this slide, you see a typical small-scale cargo inspection system. What is important to know that the most advanced and technologically complex part of this equipment is the detection matrix. This piece of equipment allows to visualize what's inside of the container. What is important to know about the market of the detection matrix, that it is a monopoly. A single material is the dominant player in this matrix, and this is cesium iodine. We at Garnet have developed a proprietary material that is 40 times faster than cesium iodine, has more environmental benefits, and more or less comparable cost structure. I would like to reiterate that our innovation is the material, but the product that we develop and will put on the market is the detection matrix itself. So what does it bring to our future customers? Of course, the speed. Not only the speed of processing just one container, but the speed of processing numerous containers in a certain time frame. So where we are at the moment, we are closely working with the Institute of Nuclear Physics in Italy, as well as CERN in Geneva, to conduct a technical feasibility study of our material. Actually, our crystals, or the material itself, is now at CERN, where they do the final measurements. We would like to complete the technical feasibility by Q2 this year, and then we will structure the project to actually assemble the prototype of the detection matrix, with that in aiming to go on the market and establish a production facility, with actually the final goal being to become the next monopoly on the cargo inspection matrix. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. I have to apologize because I actually announced the wrong section. I hear myself double. And it was security indicator. So I see Michael has a question.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. Super exciting idea that you have. I wanted to ask, what are you exactly selling? Because, I mean, it sounds weird, I know, but are you selling the material, this proprietary material that you designed, so others can use it in their machines? Or are you also selling the machine? And what is the cost of that product that you're selling?
Like I said, thank you for the question. The innovation that we have is the material, but the product that we will be selling on the market is the plug and play detection matrix itself. So basically, you can just plug out the detection matrix that contains the cesium iodine material and plug in our matrix. So this will be our product to the market. And what is important to add is we are pretty sure we can do it because our material is currently dominating the market of the small scale inspection systems, like the airport inspection. So 70% of the market is held by the Smith Detection Company, and they use our material for doing the airport inspection.
Okay, so the reason why I was asking is because you have 150K in funding here, you said. It's not a lot of funding, you know, for this project that you're trying to create. I think it's an awesome project, by the way. So yeah, it would be, I think you need somebody to help you out with some funding, with some proper money. And I think EU Commission or EU started off Horizon Europe. Maybe that might be interesting for you.
Thank you for offering this. I mean, if somebody can help us, this would be really great. Thank you.
Thank you, Michi, also for the good tips. Also for everyone, I think, I hear myself double again. I think this is something to keep in mind. So all the opportunities that are out there, and also to later on connect into the networking and get the expertise about this. Next up, we have Fact Insect. So they are doing automated fact checking. Let's get them up on stage for their pitch.
Here, my name is Celia, and I would like to start my presentation with a question. Don't we all have that one friend or neighbor who believes in flat Earth or some other weird conspiracy theory? Well, fake news is becoming a major problem, and it has the potential to damage our society. But manual fact-checking is a lot of effort, and this is where we come in. Fact and Sect is an automated fact-checking service, and it's based on artificial intelligence. And this is how it works. After installing it in your browser, you see that little button right beside your address bar. A green light means the information you're currently reading is confirmed by quality news sources. Orange light means it's unconfirmed. This means go and do your own research. We found out that 4 out of 10 readers are not sure if they can distinguish between fake news and facts. This gives us about 639,000 users for Austria alone, 13 million users for the German-speaking countries, and 250 million users for other languages. Our main competitor is NewsGuard, but NewsGuard only gives you information on the entire news source, whereas Fact and Sect gives you information on individual articles. Plus, it's fully automated, and if you're interested, you can even see which parts of the article you read could be confirmed by hand-picked quality news sources. We found out that enterprises are willing to pay a few euros per month per user for a fact-checking service. If we look at manual fact-checking, we can reduce the time to check an article from about an hour to just a few seconds. And social media networks spend several million euros per year just on fact-checking. This leads me to our revenue model. We would like to offer Fact and Sect as a freemium model for €2.90 per user per month, or for intranet solutions or social media networks for €100 per 100 calls. Currently, we're mainly using social media and public relations to get our product on the market. We're currently running a beta test. In May, we will launch the actual product. And in September, we will start our first pilot corporate customer. Our team consists of Romana Dorfer, who is an experienced software developer and AI specialist, and my focus is marketing and media literacy. We are currently incubated at Science Park Graz, where we have excellent mentors and advice. Currently, we're running our beta tests, and we're working on a prototype for the US market because we've got a potential customer there. Thank you. That's all from my side. If you would like to join our beta test, just register at factandsect.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. What an important issue and what a big quest. Is there a question from the jury? Yes, I see Michael has one.
I mean, I think the market needs this desperately. Yes, I think it's awesome that you're tackling this problem. What I want to understand is, why is your solution better than other solutions out there? How are you different?
There is no solution out there that works just like our solution. You've got a NewsGuard who gives you information on the entire news source. Like if you say you read the New York Times or the Standard, it would say, yes, this is a quality news source because this and this and this. But Fact and Sect checks individual articles while you're reading.
I understand. And how are you doing this so that you can claim that you're really good at detecting fake news?
I pass that question on to Romana.
Yes, thank you for the question. We are actually using artificial intelligence to find in the first step similar claims. And afterwards, we are doing a textual entailment calculation. We find out whether a specific claim is now confirmed by another source. And we also plan in future that we even can calculate if a claim is contradictory to another trustless news source, and this enables us actual fact-checking.
Okay, thank you for that.
If I just made just one short, quick comment, I think, I don't know, if that works and you have this simple, basically red and green option to say if that is checked or not, that's awesome. It's very simple and could really work well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep it short and simple. This is definitely a good mantra to stick with. These were the first two categories. We will now take a break until 7:15. So grab a beer, grab a spritzer, settle down in order to still enjoy the last round of pitches before we then go into the networking part and the jury decision. So let's take a 15 minutes break and we will be back with you at 7:15. See you then.
See you then.
Welcome back from your break. I hope you all are relaxed and ready for the next two sections for our last pitches of today. But before we do that, we would like to introduce to you the Vienna Up, because we are part of something bigger. We are part with our final of the Vienna Up, which is the biggest community-based startup event in Austria, taking place in April and May this year. But I would love to welcome Gabriele on stage from Wirtschaftsagentur Wien to tell us more.
A startup is like assembling an orchestra or a band. Let's say there is this amazing violinist, a great percussionist, an exceptional performance artist. If you bring them all together, this is where the magic happens, and that's what we do. My name is Gabriele Katzberger, and I'm the person in charge of Vienna Up 21, the international startup festival taking place in spring 21, bringing together rebels, founders, and innovators, with events spreading across the city like a firework of inspiration.
To this event. But now let's jump into the next category, which now for real is climate and social impact. And I would like to welcome the first startup on stage, which is Perigi. I hope I pronounced it correctly. They are doing humanitarian fundraising powered by AI.
Hello there. I want to take a minute and talk about climate change, but don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with stuff that you already know. No, instead of this, I want to talk about the people who try to make a change. We're talking about charities, non-profits, NGOs. And you know what? The fundraising market is a pretty huge one. In the past year, in Europe alone, we have had 87 billion of donations, with one downside. The whole market is slowly declining, or better said, the donor numbers are declining. If we dig a little bit deeper, we can see a very fascinating picture. About half of the NGOs say that they're only earning 5% of their income digitally. Only 5% of digital income in a world of today where we're constantly connected. Obviously, this has to do with the demographics. For instance, the Generation Z, born after 1998, represents only 2% of the donors. Even worse, only 44% of all NGOs say that they have a written social media strategy. 50% of the organizations have discovered that they have a lack of know-how and invest heavily in tech. So we have a higher funding need than ever before due to climate change, due to COVID, and many other challenges. We have a declining donor number situation, and we have very limited know-how within the sector. Our response? The Perigi platform. But before I go into details, let me circle back and talk about my youth. I know it's hard to imagine, but when I was a kid in the 90s or a teenager, I was listening to Scandinavian black metal. Obviously, my mother hated it, but I had about 50 or 60 friends who really loved it. But it's not a very big target audience or market. But then came the internet, and suddenly we were not 60, we were thousands, 100,000, even millions who were targets for monetization. And that's the starting point for Perigi. Our platform helps to identify donors based on their interest towards an event. So you see, you may have heard about stuff that's happening in Beirut, an explosion or an earthquake in Croatia, but a lot of other things happening at the same time. And everywhere there's somebody who has a deep personal link. Family over there, who has been traveling there, who has read an article, even shared probably articles online. So that's what we do. We make customer acquisition and market intelligence easy with our platform. We give you vital information about emergencies faster than ever before. We even identify prospective donors based on their interest. We show you trends, media coverage, social media engagement. We even predict engagement. We have developed a solution together with Doctors Without Borders, the Austrian Red Cross, SOS Children's Villages, UNICEF, and many more. And as they are developing this product with us, they will become our first clients, and we can grow incrementally within these organizations. But who is us? It's Marcus, my co-founder, who is a scientist with a background in Harvard and Columbia, and who has been working with NGOs throughout the past decade, and me, with a background in marketing and management from the corporate world. A quick word about our business model. We don't earn money based on donations. It's a very tricky thing. What we do, we provide a platform for the organizations. It's subscription-based SaaS with very low price tiers, which make it affordable for organizations of every kind. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does the jury have any questions for you?
I think can I go?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Awesome idea, a huge problem, definitely huge market. I would like to know, you said you were developing that with your partners. I would like to know how far you are, and you said that there's a subscription, which I think is a great idea. How much is that? In which kind of money are we talking about? And I'm interested to know how far you are. Basically, if I were now to have an NGO and I do lead a few of them, how would I approach you and what do you get me?
Okay, so what we do have is we're currently running pilot studies together with these organizations. There is a technical solution. What we are currently trying to do is to refine it in two ways. First, our metrics, and the second one is to really see how it fits in the workflows of these organizations. That's the first part of the question. Regarding subscription-based services, we have developed 4 price tiers where we have a freemium version, but most importantly, you get full access starting from 100 to 150 euros per month, which makes it really affordable, and that's per license. So you would see small organizations with 4 or 5 people will buy 1 license. Bigger NGO would probably buy dozens per country. We think that the average revenue per user is about 950 euros per year.
Thank you very much. We will go on to the next startup, which is called Velovio. They are a bicycle parking system, and I'm super curious what exactly that looks like. Velovio, welcome on stage.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tanya. I'm the CEO and founder of Velovio. And today I want to talk with you about bike parking. So let's start with the first slide. Biking only has advantages. It's healthy, it saves money, it's climate friendly, and it's fun. And that's fortune because in 2020, bike traffic increased in cities up to 40%. Of course, due to Corona, but mainly due to the increasing bike trend of the recent years. This is great, but it also brings new challenges to cities. Next slide, please. You all know a situation like that. Chaos, scratched and stolen bikes. And who wants to park their bike here? Obviously nobody. And this is what we want to change. Next slide. We are Velovio, and we are designing and producing our own products to create bike space. We have already several different products in our portfolio, such as the high-low parker bento and the signature product bike parker, with more items in development right now. And for now, I want to introduce you to our initial product, the bike parker. Next. The bike parker is a modular system that consists of different units, like a bike lift, e-bike charger, or seating. And these modules can be arranged in different configuration according to your needs, like circular around trees, for example, or just linear on the wall. Next, the main element is the patented mechanical bike lift that helps to transition the bike vertical into a vertical position without any effort. Next. And last year in August, we built up the first prototype of bike parker at the FH Salzburg. And the first bento, you see on the next slide, is displayed at our pilot customer Moon City in Salzburg. Next. With our USP of a product with modular function, the automatic bike lift, and our standout design, we can position ourselves in the intersection of the bike rack, city furniture, and service station market segments. Next, and with that comes a market potential in the public space of 150 million euros a year across the DACH region. And this is how we're going to achieve it. Our products are going to be directly distributed by us, as well as partnering with architects and city planners to sell on a larger scale to our customers, companies and corporates. And due to this premium nature and moving parts, there's also an opportunity to generate an ongoing revenue stream with a subscription service fee for the bike parker. And this will start soon. We want to do the market push end of this year. We want to get at least 9 pilot customers, expand our team, and finish the development of the 2 new products till early 2022. And so far, we raised 200,000 in grants. We got a patent for the bike parker mechanism and several patents for design. And as you already saw, we got 2 prototypes out in the wild. I didn't do this alone. I got an amazing team around me, internal and external, but the main characters you can see on this slide. We got prototyping expert, CAD development, and a marketing expert, and I'm responsibility for design and the organization. So if you do want to know more about Velovio, just get in touch with me via email, call me, or visit me at my hop-in booth. So I'm looking forward to your question now. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was on point, timing-wise. Also,
really cool.
As a biker, I definitely know the problem. Is there any question from our dear Shuri? Everything's so clear.
That's good.
Maybe one on my end. So. Yes. My question is maybe in regards to where exactly would these bike sheds be? So would there be a need for you to rent out space from, I guess, the government? And then my second question is in regards to, I guess, the production of these like bike attachments and so on. What will be your process there in terms of manufacturing and so on?
I want to start with the manufacturing point. We are right now manufacturing everything in Austria, and this is actually a good thing because it's very close to the market, and so it's like close to us, and we can all go there in person and check out the status and the production, and this is very important because we are still in the prototype stadium. So, but for the future, we actually still want to produce in Austria. And your second question was about where the bike parker is needed, right? And we are aiming like cities and regions, like tourist regions, for example, where like you need a like, let's say, holistic product that serves different purposes, like the bike parker would not only like as a bike rack, but also like for like walking people who want to just sit down or have other features in the bike rack.
Okay. Just maybe just one thing about my question. I think it was more in terms of where exactly in the city. So, for example, would you have to pay for the exact spot where these racks would be?
Okay. Sorry, I misunderstood that.
Oh.
No, actually, our customer is the city itself. So we get the money from the city. They buy the bike parker and they provide it for their inhabitants and for their bikers. This is this is our business model right now. We are also developing some other ideas for rental space. You're right, there is potential, definitely. But for now, it's just a sell product for the city.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. And we are actually staying with sports equipment. The next startup that we have is Needed. So they are working with outdoor equipment for rent. Let's get them on stage.
Okay, so Hannah, thank you so much for the introduction. And we would like to start our pitch with a statement. We are buying and throwing away too many things in our life. And Alexander and myself, Sebastian, we can only confirm this statement with, yes, that's so true. And we believe that you agree with that as well. And on the other side, we see a very positive trend when it comes to on-demand services. On-demand services are getting quite big in our generation now, and it has become completely normal to rent products or services for only a period of time when we actually only need them. So we thought about that and said, how can we evolve this situation to a different area that is important to our generation? And while we did our surveys with our potential target group and stakeholders, we found out that our generation is really experience driven. So that actually means that our generation wants to go out, they want to have activities in the nature, they want to be sporty. But the biggest pain with that is that the products that we actually require for those activities are really expensive, especially when you only need that on an infrequent basis. So the example of an e-bike, which is about 3,000 euro, and if you would assume that you use that product for 5 times for a bigger trip per year over a period of 5 years, then the cost per experience would be 120 euro. That's actually insane, and that's unnecessary investments.
And this brings us exactly to our solution, because Sebastian and myself, we strongly believe that not everybody has to buy the outdoor gear for their experiences anymore. Existing products can be used better and they can be used together. And that's the reason why we founded Needed, an online platform for renting outdoor equipment. So with this platform, on the one hand, we help the people to save a lot of money, because they only have to pay for the period of time when they're using the product. On the other hand, we help people to make a lot of money, because everybody who has some outdoor products at home can put it on the platform and rent it to somebody when the product is not needed. And this brings us to our USP as well, because we are in Austria the only marketplace where on the one hand private individuals and as well companies offer their gear for rent to the community. Additionally to that, Needed is about the mindset of sharing economy, the new normal. Having a look at our business model. On the one hand, we collect 3 euros per transaction by the renter. On the other hand, we collect 15% of the rental price by the lessor. On the right side of this slide, you see the fiancée of Sebastian. She already managed to rent her pair of skis in January 3 times to a renter and made 100 euros out of it. What a great deal, right? Having a look on our figures, currently everything is going into the right directions. Active users, products on the platform, and our social media reach. But what makes us even happier is that a political party in Austria and already companies want to work together with us. and that the people are really interested in having a platform like Needed, and that there is the need for Needed, can be shown through the press coverage that we received within the last weeks and months. So we have ambitious goals for the future, and the first of them is bringing established companies on our platform, but of course as well young startups, so that they can offer their products for rent. This should be combined with a subscription model so that outdoor gear can be rented for an entire season. That's Sebastian and myself, and we would be happy if you become part of the rental market community. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this pitch. Actually, really interesting. I recently tried out an e-bike for the first time, and it's so fun. I actually really underestimated how far you can get if you have also a little bit of a motor. Michael, I see you have a question.
Yes, very, very interesting solution. Good presentation. I really like that you showed both founders. I guess you're both founders. One question, just to clarify. So if I want to rent something, then it's kind of a Airbnb for renting. I mean, so I have to go and pick it up from wherever that product is, right? So if I need multiple, then I have to go to this person, then to that person, and pick it up, right? And then bring it back as well. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So, I mean, the experience we've made through the last weeks, actually, when we did our, let's say, the very first transactions since we went live with our platform, shows that our lessors, they're giving away entire packages. Yeah, so that means they only just not give away a pair of skis, but they include the avalanche package, they include the boots, etc. So in the cases we have been seeing so far, it works quite well, and people do not have to, let's say, drive around, as you have mentioned, to get all the gear together.
And that is actually very smart with the packages.
Yeah, and with the chat function integrated, and we already recognize that some people or some lessor use it, and they really bring the gear then to the renter as well. So both sides possible.
Yeah, and that's actually quite a cool
very
thing.
Tiny question, and maybe it's evil, but let's see how could you made your business planning. So how many customers do you need to have so that you break even?
That's something you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, currently we plan it for 2022, and I mean the business model that we are considering is not just having these €3 transaction fee and the 15% for the rental fee. We know that we have to do some other things that should bring us in a positive area. But I cannot tell it to you in figures, but we definitely have the plan for 2022.
And just to give you a rough overview, it's like we are doing currently €8 per transaction, so you can make up the math later in our booth together with us, that we find out where we currently are and what the plans are. But important to mention, this is what Alexander said at the end of the presentation, we're focusing on bringing big companies on board, and that's going to help us to scale up quite fast.
That's an important point that was being raised. So don't forget in the networking later to also visit the booths of the startup to ask all the rest of the questions that are still open. We now get to our final category, which is edutech and the future of work. And we will start with a startup from Salzburg, which is Advice. To manage knowledge smarter with audio. Welcome, Sophie.
Exactly. Thanks for the introduction, Hannah. So my name is Sophie. I'm founder and CEO of Advice, the first learning and collaboration tool for businesses that helps them, like Hannah said, to manage knowledge smarter with audio. And that sounds like a nice to have, but it is actually a must have. Because if your organization does a poor job in managing knowledge, your employees will be less productive, less efficient, and less likely to make appropriate decisions. And that makes you lose money. The number one reason for that is a lack of time. It simply takes too much time to share knowledge, and we're too busy to process it. For example, imagine you have a 1-hour call with a new customer where you get a lot of input that is also relevant for your team to know. And even if you take the time to write everything down, how likely is it that they will actually read your 2 pages mail? And if they would they get all the context they need? You could also go and share all of that in a meeting, but that needs to be scheduled first. And whenever someone new is getting involved, you need to explain it all over again. And that is a problem we are facing every day. We need to share knowledge and not only information, but we don't want to spend too much time on it. And we need to make sure it will be received. And this is what we can help you with. We brought Advice to life because we discovered how powerful audio is to make knowledge sharing actually work. We basically combined the best of Spotify and voice recording in one single convenient application that allows you to record your knowledge as fast as a voice message, but perfectly structured in bite-sized playlists and tracks. And you share it right where people listen to it, in your company's own audio library that helps them to make most of their time and listen on the go while they're driving, doing laundry, or just making a coffee in home office. However, the difference to a corporate podcast is that it is fully collaborative. So every employee can use it without being a professional content creator, without knowing anything about podcasting, and without needing a bunch of different tools or equipment for that. Our first audio library was actually targeting students who could create, share, and listen to study material with Advice, but it has soon been adopted by universities as a blended learning tool, and finally by companies for workforce learning and knowledge management. And that was the moment when we finally hit product market fit and started generating revenue, with even 2 Fortune 500 companies becoming our first customers. In the next few months, we will be relaunching Advice as a complete self-service solution to also make it available to SMEs who hardly ever have the budget or resources to set up proper digital knowledge management processes. And we actually aim to win over fast-growing startups as early adopters who can use Advice to onboard people faster, to reduce meeting madness, and to manage customer relations most efficiently. So if you're interested, make sure to sign up on our waitlist on advice.com. I promise it will be affordable. We will introduce a tiered pricing strategy where you pay based on the maximum number of users that can access the audio library. Recent trends show very well that we have just the right timing. The demand for podcasts and voice messages has been increasing in the past years, and COVID gave it another boost. And Clubhouse is actually the best example. But unlike them, we will take an on-demand B2B approach and bring the power of audio to the corporate world. And this we is a team of highly dedicated and committed people who are having my back as a single founder and bring the right know-how, motivation, and network to the table to help us grow. So don't forget to sign up at advice.com. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much for your pitch, Sophie. I really loved it. Let's see what Shiri says. Any questions?
Yes. First, awesome presentation. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Really good job. What I really didn't get, let's assume I have a customer call and it's in a 1-hour call. How is anybody going to have time, or how does that process, because you mentioned it was in bits and pieces, how does that really work for somebody else to listen to it, hear it, and really understand what was going on?
Yeah, thanks. That's a really good question. So not that we have a misunderstanding here. It's not that you record a customer call. It's actually, I have the call just normally, and after the call, what we would do is then grab our phones and with Advice record basically a recap of that conversation that is very much structured in tracks, where I can say, okay, these were the most important points my customer mentioned. This is some background information. These were the use cases they reflected most on, and basically collect all of that information in a quick follow-up for ourselves and then also for our colleagues to share.
But that would
Does
mean
that answer your question?
Yes, but that would mean also that me as a listener later on, how do I go from, that was the context and that was what I did, or, do I see something and where I can kind of skip things? Or how does it work for me then as a...
Yeah. So if you would be listening to it, you can imagine it like on Spotify, you have a playlist, but just instead of music tracks, you have tracks with voice recordings. And you have the overview of a playlist. You can listen through it like a podcast if it's 30 minutes, but you can also say, okay, I know about the use cases, about the persons in the back. I want to skip to, okay, what are the next steps? And just click on that track and listen to that one specific track.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, and sorry, just because of the visuals, it's also possible. We don't say only audio only, but audio first. So we provide integrations that you can easily use existing visuals like PDFs, presentations, videos, or whatever, and attach it to your playlist.
Thank you so much, Sophie. This was already the second to last startup of our competition today. Time is flying, and I'm very happy to get Move Evo on stage as our last pitching startup. One more time, someone from Carinthia.
Sitting all day in front of the computer, neck tension, back pain, and this permanent lack of energy. Do you know this feeling? Our sedentary lifestyle is making us sick. An average employee in Austria is sick around 13 days a year, which leads to costs of 3,500 euros for the company. In addition, going to work sick, unmotivated, or in pain costs another 2,400 euros. For 1,000 employees, this accumulates to 6 million euros a year. A huge part of this is avoidable. It's in our own hands.
Welcome to the daily challenge. We all stand up and join. We do some brain gym together. We clap our thighs and then we bring one hand to the nose, the other one to the ear. Switch sides. Get the rhythm. Take care of your eyes. Yeah, that looks good. We increase the speed. 4, 3, 2, 1. Well done. Do you feel the new energy?
We are Michael and Marion from Movivo, and we are on a mission to incorporate health and the power of movement into everyday life. In the first step, we address people where they are spending and sitting most of the time, at work. Together with our first paying pilot customers, we found major problems in existing corporate health solutions.
Many health activities follow the one-size-fits-all approach. But we as humans, we are all individuals, and so are the companies we are working for. With our B2B white label app, we address the company's needs and adapt content and design to match it. We create a strong communication channel to bring health into every employee's pocket and help to build a strong employer brand.
A second issue our customers are facing is measurability. We use the power of data. By collecting and analyzing usage data, feedback, and also self-assessments, we make corporate health targeted and measurable. With our underlying algorithm, we create a unique and individual health experience for every employee.
Betriebliche Gesundheitsförderung. The expression itself sounds dusty and more frightening than attracting. We create emotions. Surprising challenges and gamification targets the human pattern of hunting and gathering. Movement connects and creates a sense of belonging. We want to reach all the 70% out there who are not into a healthy lifestyle yet.
And to accomplish our mission, we have a strong and dedicated team. With experiences in sports science and holistic health, startup, UI/UX design, and app development. Internally, we have the right prerequisites, and also the market is promising.
Health and digitalization are the main drivers of the 21st century. The global market of corporate health is 44 billion and has an expected growth rate of 7% till 2028. More and more companies recognize the importance of physically and mentally healthy employees, and probably nowadays more than ever. They start investing and that pays off.
Our white label customers pay an initial setup and a monthly fee based on the number of employees. For smaller companies and also for testing purposes, we also offer a subscription model to access our Move app.
In the 6-month journey, we already created a strong network of experts and cooperation partners. We have 3 pilot customers. We start with them in April, each of them with more than 1,000 employees. We also established a strong distribution partnership with a health brand for Austria and Germany. They are all ready.
We are ready.
Are you also ready to move?
Thank you so much. I feel more active already. What about the jury? Any jumping questions? Michi, did you want to say something?
No, you just said jumping questions, and it fits pretty good to the presentation and the solution. You jump around. I think it's awesome, by the way, that because even at home office, right, people are definitely need that solution as well, which is great. But I don't have a specific question. I give it to the jury back. Who else? Who else has a question? Other than that, I found it funny, the presentation. Very, very well thought through.
Thanks a lot.
I would definitely a great presentation with the two of you together working. That was awesome. Really good job on there and very dynamic and very good flow. My question is, what you need now most at this stage in your development? Because you're still developing it. It's not out there really. So what you need most?
Okay, so great question, thank you. I'll try to speak to the camera. It's a little bit confusing. So we are in this kind of pilot phase, but we will start with the real customers of the employees in April. So it's out there. We established kind of a feedback system. What we need most is people that are also in the holistic health scene. So to broaden our network of experts that are contributing to our app, to get more feedback, to get more customer responses, and yeah, also new customers, of course. And what else did I miss?
Yeah, I think especially the feedback that we will collect from our pilot clients will be important for us to meet the market needs and to engage the users with the app. That will be the deciding factor so that can be a success for the company as well.
Just for me to understand, that means that you have created and developed the app before really talking to the users.
Now we're in the process. We already collected data, but with the pilot customers, we have a 6-month pilot phase where we're engaging with them on a regular pace. So they are already paying for this pilot phase, but we're adapting to their needs. So this was kind of part of the deal. So they give us money, and we adapt the product also to fit their needs. So it's maybe important to say that the 3 pilot customers we chose are from very different areas or industries. So one is a University of Applied Science, one is a big IT company, and one is a city. So we also want to see like where the people benefit most from our solution.
Smart work. Get them paying for the research and adoption. Good work.
Great. Thank you so much. That's it. Those were all the pitches for today. Now the really hard work is starting for our jury, who needs to select the winners. For you, this means we have a break or not really a break, but actually a networking session of around 25 minutes, where you can go in the WKO session, which is called Startup and Scale, or you can go into the expo area. There you can see on the one side a couple of our partners who are introducing themselves there, but also on the other side, the startups. So when you go into one of their booths, as well as on the session, you can request to add and go into their call by requesting the audio and the video access. So have fun networking. Shuri, good luck deciding. We see each other back here on stage at 8:20. See you soon. Welcome back. I hope you had some interesting networking opportunities. We had a very exciting discussion in the background, and the jury actually had quite a couple of differences, but also then found the similarities and made their final decision. So really a big applause to all of you. All of you did great pitches. There are amazing solutions, and I am really excited to see you all continue and scale in Austria and over the borders around. And with that, I would like to ask Audrey. I think you will announce our first winner.
So I would first like to start by saying thank you and congratulations to all of the startups that presented today, because you made it this far. So in a way, you're all winners. As we previously said, it was an extremely difficult decision yet again. So let's not make it too suspenseful, but for this first category of digital health and biotech, we decided to pick this startup because we saw a huge potential for it. And so the winner is Kilobaser. Congratulations.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Kilobasers. It's really a great solution that you have out there. We wish you all the best, and I'm looking forward to see you on the 5th of May at the final. Let's go to the next category, which is security and big data. And Michi will announce our winner.
Thank you very much, Hannah. I will do my best to do so. We have decided on a winner. It was not easy, like always. There are different opinions, but we found that this company has a big potential and a massive market if that solution works, which we don't know, of course, but it sounds like it can. So that's why we have chosen this next winner of this category of security and big data. And the winner is, wait. The winner is Garnet.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations to Garnet. We are very happy to also welcome you to the finals on the 5th of May. And we will right away jump into the next category, which is social and climate impact. Audrey.
So this one, again, this being the category with the most presenters, the decision was very hard. We all had different opinions. In the end, we decided to base our decision on market potential, the pitching presentation, and so we would like to present the winning position to, and drums please. Perry G, congratulations.
Congratulations, Perry G. I'm also really looking forward to see your impact reaching a global scale. Big congratulations. And let's go to our last category, which was the future of work and edutech. Michi, please announce the winner.
It's a massive category, I have to say. I was very impressed on the market science on this one. So the discussions went back and forth. Okay, which one of those startups that we have heard in this category can have the biggest impact, at least for this pitching competition? And yeah, we put together our opinions and also evaluated the way that you present, right, and the way that you put together your information, and we've chosen this company, and the winner is Advice.
Thanks so much.
Congratulations to Sophie and the team of Advice. A beautiful last winner here on stage. We are looking forward to welcome you to the final as well within the Vienna Up. This was our pre-event of the category South. Thank you all for being part of it. And we hope to see you again at our next pre-event, which will take place on the 8th of April. Here we will hear pitches from startups from Burgenland, Lower Austria and Vienna. So make sure not to miss it. And now you can still go into the networking areas, grab a drink, have a good conversation, enjoy your evening. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for the jury. Thank you for all the startups. It was great to be with you. Bye.